Hi there, it's Grace. Today I'm going to be talking about hometowns and why my sister and I can never give someone a really simple answer like a city and that's our hometown. Always have a two-part, three-part answer. I don't know what Diana considers her hometown, but I consider it a mix of Seattle and Taipei because I was born in the States. From the ages of 0 to 3, I lived in Taipei, and then from 3 to 9 I lived in Seattle, and then from 9 to 18 I lived back in Taipei, and then onwards I was in college in the States. Speaking of Seattle though, I looked up our childhood home online the other day, and from the outside it looks really similar except for they cut out a giant fir tree in the front yard, so it's completely gone. And looking at that house, so many childhood memories came to me because from the ages of 3 to 9, that's where my sister and I played. We grew up together. I mean, I went to preschool there. My sister and I love talking about living in Seattle because there are some memories there that we will never forget. I think I became a morning person when I lived in Seattle just because my mom hated waking up in the morning. So she would set the alarm and just let me wake up and wake my sister up, and we would get our bags and I would make breakfast. I normally just pour milk and cereal, and then we would go to our bus stop, walk across the street. It was a very safe neighborhood in the suburbs, but on days that we forgot, I actually have to wake up my mom, which is kind of scary because she hates being waken up. So we wake her up and she has to take us to school. But because we get there earlier than the bus, if we drive straight to school instead of making different stops, my mom always stops by the neighborhood Starbucks and orders herself a grande mocha with a double shot of espresso, and orders my sister and me little cups of hot chocolate. So we would always have like our little Starbucks cups. My mom would be drinking her big one, trying to stay awake. And then my sister and I would go to our elementary school. So we really started loving Starbucks. And so if we have a choice of what coffee to get off the cup, we always go to Starbucks. So my sister had this habit where if she got mad, she would go, I'm running away. When she was in first or second grade, she would pack her little backpack and then she would leave the house. I freaked out because I was so young. I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, you need to stop her. Why is she running away? And my mom was like, just let her. She's gonna come back. Like, what's gonna happen? She'll still watch the window, outside the window, to see how far my sister walks until. And my sister literally walks until like the next door neighbor's house, and then she'll hide behind a tree and then peek and see if anyone's coming to get her to make sure she doesn't run away. And after 30 minutes or so, when no one comes to get her, she'll come back sheepishly. Where was she running off to? I don't know. There was a memory where my mom left something boiling in the house and then she was gardening. So, because there was all this smoke in the house, the smoke detectors went off. So, my sister and I ran out of the garage, and then my mom was like running into the house to turn off the stove because it was just boiling water. But because the water overfilled, it was all over the floor, my mom slipped and fell on the floor. And then because the alarms were going off, my mom was like wanting my sister or me to go back in the house to turn off more stuff, like help her ventilate the house. But my sister and I, because of what they taught us in school, we follow what teachers tell us. My sister and I are screaming from the doorway outside in the garage, no, you have to save yourself. Our teacher says you can't go back inside. You have to come out, Mom. Just come out, Mom. My mom was like, you idiots, just come inside. Help me open the windows. And my sister was like, no, Mom, we can't go inside. We can't. The teacher said we can't. We actually thought it would be a fantastic idea to go to the guest bedroom, watch TV there, fill a bunch of balloons with water, and just put it on the bed and then bounce with them while we're watching TV. And then, I mean, for the first 30 minutes, none of the balloons, nothing happened. But I guess over time, the elasticity of the balloons started to give away. So they started popping like boom, boom, boom. And then my sister and I were like, my mom has a green thumb, so she used to plant all these beautiful flowers in the backyard, in the house, everywhere. There's plants everywhere. There were pansies in the front, and then there were rose bushes near the gates, and then she would also plant all these tulips that were so beautiful. But then my sister and I remember, I don't know, was it my idea or was it her idea? We got sticks, and then we beat the crap out of those tulips. We just went to town, and like all the tulips, all the petals fell to the ground, and they were dead. There is this really distinct memory I have of my sister becoming lost. So my sister has this thing where she wanders off. If you're not watching her, she'll wander off. I'm a little bit more of a scaredy cat, so I'm like clinging on to my mom. So I never get lost because I'm literally like right next to my mom. So one time we were going to our swimming lessons, and because we were a little early and my mom forgot something, she thought she had time to go home, grab it, and then go back to our lessons. So we were sleeping in the car, so my mom left us in the car with the doors open in the garage so she could just go back to the house and grab something and come back. And so she went in, came back, and I was still sleeping the entire time. So then we went to the swimming pool area, and then I got out of the car, and my mom drove a minivan. And then Diana wasn't in the car. We looked under the seats, we're like, Diana, where are you? Diana was not in the car. I was like, I don't know where Diana went. I was sleeping. So we go back home. We drive back home because it's only like 5 minutes away, maybe 10. And then we see a little girl my sister standing in the street screaming her ass off, screaming, bawling, and there's like a neighbor standing next to her. And my mom is like, where did you go? My sister's like, I saw we were home, so I left the car and went to my room. And I told you, I said, Mom, I'm in my room. You must have not heard me. So hopefully you enjoy the stories that I just shared with you, and this also inspired my sister to think of other memories that we shared when we lived in Seattle together. And look forward to her video on Thursday.